So I did a video with the Honda Civic Type R in which I wasn't quite sure if I, as a guy who's 40, yes I'm 40, with a mortgage and a daughter, should be driving around in something that looked that flashy. In similar fashion, today I'm going to be driving a Subaru WRX STI Type RA to FedEx so I can go send some stuff to my tax guy. Yeah, it's going to be an existential crisis today. Sure, it looks like a normal WRX, but did you know they only made 500 of the Type RA? So the distinguishing features include, there's a lip down here with the all-important STI badge up front. I'm not sure how well this reads on camera, but that is carbon fiber. Naturally in back, you've got the carbon fiber wing. As noted with the Kia Soul GT line, red accents equals sporty. I hope you're taking notes on how to make a car look sporty. Should add that to your Corolla. One of the things I think Subaru has always done super well is put gold wheels on cars. A Subaru with gold wheels looks right to me. One more note about the RA, so they made only 500 of them, but they made them in 2018. So this is a 2018 car. I'm kind of not sure why. They sent one to the Kelley Blue Book offices, my daily employer. I don't know. Before hitting the road, let's take a quick look at the interior. The Recaro race seats, naturally there's decent lateral support. I mean, it should be great lateral support. For my frame, I feel like it could be a little bit more supportive in this region right here. You ever talk to somebody who's like, you know, I don't want to go to the gym because I don't want to get too built. If anything, I'm getting too fit. Maybe it's all that running I've been doing. Let's see, we've got Alcantara, everybody's favorite fake suede, and of course red stitching. See previous comment about Kia Soul GT line. This is a 6-speed manual transmission. I believe it's a slightly shorter third gear ratio in the Type RA. All told, this is not that different from a normal WRX STI, with the exception of the fact that this one cost, when they were selling it, like 50 grand. And you can get a normal WRX STI for right around like 37. So that's a sizable jump. But, you know, exclusivity comes at a cost. Yeah, that's a lot of money. Did you see the carbon fiber roof? And high-performance Yokohama tires. Oh, and there's also some suspension upgrades, Bilstein shocks. So my expectation is it's going to handle pretty well. I don't know if that'll be the kind of handling that can be exploited in a street environment. We will find out. We set a new lap record to the FedEx. And just to be clear, I am not sponsored by FedEx, but I probably should be. For overnight shipping, yeah, give them a try. Oh, and this is kind of fun too. One of the things I've loved about making these videos is taking my automotive world and bringing it into my helicopter world. This is a piece that goes on the front of the helicopter skid. When I bought my helicopter, it was an old ag ship, and so this is actually just made out of wood. I think somebody just crafted one up because they didn't want to pay for like an actual replacement. There were 2 of these on my helicopter when I bought it. At some point, one of them fell off. And so I just put these like simple caps over the ends of the skids. But it occurred to me, I've got a buddy who does 3D printing, so I'm FedExing him this skid shoe. He's going to copy this, make a 3D printed rendition of this. That's another reason why I'm going to FedEx. That and my tax guy. Love you, Bob. All right, let's drive this thing. All right, she's in gear. And yes, this is a manual transmission. What percentage of you guys know how to drive a manual transmission? And if you're thinking that's just a cynical way to get you to engage with me, it is not. I actually am genuinely curious. I honestly have no idea how many people know how to drive manual transmissions anymore. When I grew up, it was kind of a given that you would have to know how to do that. I learned how to drive a manual transmission in a 280Z. It was not a great car. Very heavy steering. Yes. So that it is just straight up heavy steering. Push for intelligent, left for sport, right for sport sharp. True enough. There's really no easing into the throttle there, is there? Okay. The Type RA has the exact same 2.5 liter horizontally opposed 4-cylinder engine. It makes 5 horsepower more than the standard WRX STI engine, so 310 total. Based on early impressions, trying to trying to drive down the street here, refinement may be an issue. It's been a little while since I've driven a standard WRX STI. This, I think, is a fairly solid representation. The jerkiness of the powertrain is pronounced. Pedestrian is now out of the way. I will now attempt to move. I'm revving needlessly. So the way it's geared, you can't hit 60 in second gear. So you actually have to do 2 gear changes in order to hit 60. So if you're looking for 60 mile per hour times that dazzle, this would not be the best choice. I don't recommend driving the Type RA in first gear. It's I don't want to say a show. Yeah, just real jerky. I suppose no surprise, but as you ease into the throttle there, there's some lag from the turbo. That's just part of the charm, I suppose. It's all about context, right? Turbo lag in a car that my mom is supposed to drive to Whole Foods or something. She doesn't shop at Whole Foods. My mom is going to drive to maybe Trader Joe's. Oh, geez. I'm a little bit confused by the clutch engagement. Oh, here's a fast corner. Second, okay. Tires aren't quite warmed up, so I probably could have gone through there a little bit quicker if I'd been a more conscientious driver. Getting a little bit of a left pull here. Considering this was a 2018 model and it's a limited edition and it's in the press fleet, I'm guessing this has had a very, very hard life. Oh, this doesn't extend. Oh, I'm out. $50,000 price tag, whatever. Crazy bumpy ride, that's fine. Sun blinding me laterally, no dice. Ugh. Okay, I swear I'm going to get to my context thing. The context. Turbo lag in a car for an average consumer is extremely off-putting because it defies expectations. As you push harder on the throttle, you want to accelerate. You don't want to have momentary lag and then a surprise as there's a surge of power. But in the context of a vehicle like this with the ludicrous rear wing and the performance-tuned all-wheel drive, the rally essence, all of that stuff changes the context. If you have a surging acceleration behavior, that almost feels even sportier, like, oh man, here comes the power. And drivers who are driving something like this are probably more in tune with that kind of driving behavior. You know it's turbocharged when you buy a WRX STI, so there's no surprise when you floor it and then there's a pause and then the power kicks in. That whoosh of power can be exhilarating. I experienced that in the McLaren 570S, where there was this momentary delay. What was interesting is that there was an ample amount of power when you would get into the throttle with the McLaren, and then there was even more power when the turbos were really spinning. Can we philosophize for just a moment? Every time I review a car for Kelley Blue Book, which is my day job, I have to compare it against everything else in its competitive set and then think, well, which one is the best choice for an average car buyer? And to sort of display those choices. It's a very rational way of buying cars, but people don't tend to buy their cars that way. They tend to be driven by emotion. So somebody who knows that the WRX STI RA is a thing, it's rare, it's like a normal STI, but even rarer and a little bit faster, they want the car. They're not necessarily considering rationally what all the other smarter cars are that they could buy. That said, if I have $50,000 to spend on something quick, I think I might be inclined to, I don't know. These days, I think maybe a Honda Civic Type R would be cool, but I'm really a rear drive guy. I had some really great experiences in, this is gonna sound crazy, but I had a Dodge Challenger RT a few months back. I absolutely adored because it was so big and heavy and driftable. It was almost like driving a Ford Raptor, but on a racetrack. It was a lot of fun. Video coming to Kelley Blue Book's channel soon. Sorry, not this channel. I don't have budget here for that. Adding a bit more detail, the Type RA is in honor of some record attempt that Subaru was trying to make on the Nürburgring, for lap times or whatever. It really is intended to be driven at a racetrack. Driving to FedEx is not going to get the job done in exploiting all the potential of the Type RA. Even then, I wonder to myself if the RA would be the best application of an extra 12 grand on top of a normal STI. So you've got the carbon fiber roof, you know, moves the CG down a little bit, center of gravity down a little bit. The Type RA is 53 pounds lighter than a standard WRX STI. Through years and years of driving cars and reviewing cars, I've learned there really is a buyer for every car out there, but I'm not necessarily that buyer. So my job is to empathize. So I'm trying to think, there's somebody out there that really loves Subaru. Perhaps they have a shrine of Colin McRae in their man cave or something. Yeah, I wouldn't drop 50 large on the Type RA. But see, the important thing about reviewing cars, at least from my perspective, is that what I want is not necessarily the be-all end-all. There are other people out there with other perspectives. The steering feels very heavy in this range, and then right this far off center, it starts to lighten up a little bit. Sort of odd behavior. Man, I wish I was at a racetrack. That'd really help me suss out the essence here. Ooh, speaking of, synopsizing the 2018 Subaru WRX STI, I would say Rally Bro Type TF, as in trust fund. Heel toe downshift. Raise your hand if you know how to do a heel toe downshift. Let's just punch it, shall we? A little awkward. I like the gear whine as it goes through second. Might need to work on my all-wheel drive standing start finesse, but that was pretty fun. Do a dare try standing start again? All right, ready? Oh, God. Yeah, I could probably do some damage in a racetrack with this thing. That'd be fun.